Give it up for the Alliance for Women in Media President, Luna. Always a pleasure. We work so hard and we're so grateful every single time we put on these events. I'm so dramatic. And we are going to get started. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you so much for Cargo as well. Yes. So, AI. How many people have used it before? Oh, this is fun. This is fun. Great. Yes. So, obviously, welcome. This isn't just an event. This isn't just individual people who came from work or school or wherever, right? You are now a community. Welcome to Geist. I've been thinking about AI and how it isn't just a thing, it is something that impacts how we then perceive reality. And zeitgeist is played, it's cliche, it's like curated, please. Oh, how many people have ever heard the overusage of curated before? Oh my God, insufferable. So I thought about, well, what does the word Geist mean? And it is this unconscious collective spirit that pervades all of us, superseding our humanity to create meaning in real time as we continue to evolve. And I thought about AI, and I was like, this is the perfect use case for AI, right? We're here as individuals, but collectively we can continue to seek more clarity, right? As AI continues to disrupt how we even define who we are, how we work, and the value that we add based on leveraging AI. Yes? Yes. Right? It is a total disruption to time, value, and effort. If you take 10 seconds to do something, should you still be paid $200,000 a year? Oh, wow. There you go. Welcome to Geist. So, outcomes, clarity, confidence, right? And also to know that you are not alone in this. This is why I keep saying the collective, right? When you think about the word AI, what words come to mind? So we're going to do a QR code. There it goes right here. And I want you all to take out your phones and think about some words. It could be 1, it could be 79, no pressure. But what words come to mind when you think of AI? I've already said some words. You all laughed at some things, right? What comes to mind? And as you type in those words, they're going to pop up and populate, and we're going to be able to talk about them between now and the end of the session. Give you all a few more seconds. What words? What words come to mind when you think of AI? Let's start to shout them out. What words come to mind? What word comes to your mind?
Oh gosh. I think maybe fear.
Fit?
Fear.
Fair.
Fear.
Fear.
Sorry.
Love the accent. Love the accent. And I will just let you know a little factoid here. Geist, right? The collective, we're all learning in real time. 90% of LLMs are what language? English. So as we continue to translate, as we continue to read, what are we even reading when it is so centrally located within the US markets, right? So thank you. Anybody else? Word that you think about when you think of AI?
Time back.
Time. Oh, that's a good one. What do you mean by that?
I want more time to do the things I really like to do, like having fun.
How many people agree with that? Having fun. Time back. What does time back mean? What does that even mean? We hear AI, we hear time back. What does that mean?
Time back means usually that you're having someone help you do something.
So sometimes you have support. Can AI be that support? Can AI do tasks that you don't want to do? Agents, anyone? Agents, anyone? Yes, right? So yes, we'll go back to the word cloud. towards the end. So yes, this is me, future fixer. Let me help you fix your future, right? As it continues to move faster and faster, how do we land and scale our impacts? Now, what's going to happen is we did the word cloud. We're now going to move into a slew of cute little delectable bite-sized AI factoids. Are we ready? Yes. Okay, let's go, Geist. People building with AI versus people using AI. How many people use AI on a daily basis? That's literally everybody. Who is actually building AI? They're actually building a chatbot. They're building an agent. They're building an AI human. They're building it. 1, 2. So everybody look how many hands, right? So when you said using, everybody's hands went up. When we said building, how many went up? Like a third, maybe? A fifth, maybe? Thank you. Question. What does that mean if there's way more people using the tool than knowing how to build the tool? What does that mean? Shortage of?
Builders to users.
Builders to users. Does anybody know someone that builds AI? What kind of conversations do you have with these people? What questions do you ask them? They build AI. What do you want to know about what they're building? Go.
I want to know what problem are they solving with AI.
What problem are they solving? How many people think that too, right? There's all these tools, all these companies, billions of dollars, but are they solving anything or just making what? Money, right? Are they making money or are they making a difference, right? Okay. Let's move on just in the sake of time here. So, boom. How many people have heard of sentiment analysis? Can somebody please explain what that is or what that means? Go, Rob. He's one of our panelists, by the way.
I guess it's a type of research that understands how people think about things and what the trends are.
Yes. So sentiment analysis is especially with chatbots, especially in a sales capacity, right, is to understand exactly not just the words, but how someone is feeling based on the words that they're using. I for one, I abuse chatbots sometimes just as an excuse, just to see how well they are at de-escalating my emotions. Yes? So we're laughing. Right? So sentiment analysis literally is that. But guess who else can also do sentiment analysis? Us. Right? That's how the concept of sentiment analysis started, because we as human beings are constantly being in the world, which means we're constantly thinking and judging and recalibrating how to or not approach someone or approach something based on the sentiment. But guess what, collective, Geist? All of you on any given day, don't worry, have an AI sentiment in your own head. The AI sentiment isn't just the AI, it's you. And as we collectively continue to share and ask questions about the builders of AI, right, that is also going to sway our own sentiment analysis of how we perceive AI. Does that make sense? So start to think about that, maybe take some notes down. What questions would you have about the impact of builders of AI in terms of how it then makes you feel about the future? Right? If you could actually tweet or text these builders, what questions would you have that would then sway your perceptions of what AI can do and how responsible and ethical AI can be? Because I think that also adds to the sentiment. How many people have AI fear? They fear it. That is your sentiment. And because we all raise our hands, we now have a sentiment analysis. We can literally count the hands, right? But as we continue to use AI, also think about how am I feeling on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, as a monthly basis? Because guess what AI is also doing? It's also evolving. Are you evolving as AI evolves? Uh-oh. Who said? Uh-oh. Donovan? Share, quickly.
Because I'm at the start of my career, I also had to, as much as I
Donovan's my intern, by the way. Shout out to Donovan. Donovan also attended the hackathon that I produced with NVIDIA a few months ago. Yes. So hackathon, builders of AI, right? You sitting in this room can transfer from being a user to a builder, right? So I'll talk about that too. I do hackathon events. What are we seeing here? He's looking at me like, whoa. Can anybody, I know there's a lot of giggles here. What does this mean? Why did I choose this image? What are we looking at? Are we looking at a dog? What are we looking at? Yes.
Essentially, perception is reality. So the way you view the world in one way, someone else might not, and that's what AI sort of enables it.
Perception is reality. Yes. Anything else? What are we looking at? Dogs and muffins. What? Yes, that is the most truthful thing we said tonight. Why did the person who made this meme choose those images of a dog, that particular dog, and the muffins? What is the connection?
They're trying to make the point that AI at present lacks discernment.
Schema. So the way that you conceptualize, I have a degree in speech pathology, and so artificial intelligence is actually based on the human brain, how the brain acquires language and concepts, right? And so, for example, the concept of a dog, 2 eyes, right? 1 nose, yes? And the eyes have a certain look, right? So a child could go and say, okay, the big black thing, it's round, and it's inside of a face with the nose, that's an eye, right? But then you actually understand, too, that something else can look like an eye, but it's not an eye. It's a blueberry. That's a whole other schema. But what is happening, unfortunately and fortunately, depending on how you position yourself, right, is that everything is now a blur. We're in an interim stage of AI really being able to do the give our time back. Because the give our time back could mean that it's like, oh, sure, a muffin's a dog. And then that time on the beach, you now have to run back to your laptop to undo what you thought it did really quickly, and then agent, and then did it, and then you're like, uh-oh, right? So as we continue to scale, right, as we continue to experience FOMO, well, if I just spend my time being a human being and really work hard, someone else is going to be way faster, right, and more efficient, right, and use AI. So here's a cautionary tale, right here, right? That you have to know, not just that AI can give you your time back, but you have to know when to use it. Discernment, yes. One of our panelists.
You're also leaving out that context matters.
Yes.
Especially with AI. So if you give AI the context that some of these images are animals, it's going to do a better job of discerning which ones are muffins and which ones aren't. And the same thing is true with prompting your AI. The more context you give, the better your result.
Exactly. And so this is the crisis, the context crisis. Can you be as specific as possible so that you can actually leverage the power of AI to be able to get your time back? And context is one tool, right? And then also knowing the limitations of AI is another. Because you can have all the context in the world, but if it can't do the thing because it just can't do the thing, well then you're back to square one. Yes?
I would also like to say that, at least for me, my feelings are more positive on assistive AI. Because at the end of the day, assistive AI can be used as a tool, but I don't think it should be a crutch. Especially because one of the biggest problems with AI is it becomes the anti-intellectualism that sometimes happen. Rely on it both as an intellectual source and also sometimes an emotional source as well.
Yeah, there's people who are addicted to AI chatbots. There's people who literally their cognitive decline because they're just cutting and pasting real fast, right? But then they're missing not only on the notion of hard work and discipline and discernment, they're also missing on critical engagement, right? We're not just consuming AI, we want to be builders, we want to be analyzers, we want to get deep into it as it continues to evolve, because one day, you're not going to know the difference between a dog and a muffin, right? So we need to continue to work that muscle of being criticality. And I would just say that the economy is so now supercharged with AI. Just gonna go back here. So as you can see here, these are some of the most popular use cases. Medical. The plastic surgeon who's a celebrity plastic surgeon on the Bravo show, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's the Bravo show, whatever it's called. He just told his daughter not to go into medical school, to go into law school instead, because he said that the scale of AI for medical use cases is going to be the biggest use case for AI, and there's pretty much not going to be doctors. It's pretty much going to be robotics to sit there and do all the surgery. And so when we're thinking about, again, from our industry perspective, right, how AI is going to touch every industry, it's also touching people who are consumers, right? So how are they then perceiving the world when AI is continuing to change certain things and create medical miracles, right? How can we market to them now or differently? Okay, so this is my best friend. Nina. So she and I talk about AI literally all the time. She's at MIT, she's at Stanford. So she actually just gave me an exclusive preview of Stanford's latest report. So I'll have that at the end of my presentation. And she's around the world speaking at Davos and things like that. And she's like, I need a headshot. And I was like, you don't need a headshot. I said, take whatever photo that you already have in your favorites, go into Nano Banana and make a headshot out of that, like I did. And she was like, it looks like me, and you might think it's me, but it's not. It's you, but it's not you. Does that make sense? It's you, but it's not you. So as we continue to evolve with AI, as AI evolves, we are evolving. The question is, are we though? Because where are we in the world when we're generating things that are synthetic but look real, right? We're in a whole other level of understanding reality. This is Tom Cruise. This is from 2021. So this is way before Nano Banana. This is where her face is like, what? This was the U.S. Army's college issued an urgent report in 2021 about the threats of deepfakes. So again, as we continue to evolve, look how far we've come. In order to evolve, we also need to know how we got here. And so some people are urgent now, right? We're going to be talking about ad adjacencies. We're going to be talking about brand safety. We're going to be talking about how safe the internet is or isn't, because we're generating so much and a lot of it is slop, right? So again, as we continue to evolve, how do we continue to also adhere to transparency and trust? It's a slippery slope. This is interesting here. So there's so much AI slop. Because again, a lot of the social media companies, they want you to be a creator. They want you to create. Yay! What does that mean though? That means your feed is now slop. How many people have seen their feed be slop? They see on LinkedIn, the amount of slop on I'm like, you couldn't create a better image than this. It's such an aberration to my corneas. It's such an insult to my intelligence. But so now we're in the notion. He did a crazy experiment. He realized that there's so much AI slop. He then said, okay, I'm going to purposely make AI slop to see why it resonates. And he said that the AI slop that resonates the most, even if he says it's AI slop, people will still like it. They'll still share it. And it was just based on pain points or how can I say, ways in which we orient ourselves as humans. So if we saw a child, people would give. Even if it's slop, they give. If it's someone who needs charity, they give. So what does that mean in terms of our perception of reality if we know it's slop, but we still respond as if it's real? What does that mean? Anyone?
It means it's probably harder for art to sort of turn off the emotional impact of these images, even if we recognize that they're not real.
This is the best deep fake ever. Liquid death. How many people have ever literally opened up a can of liquid death? Does it taste like water? I talked to someone here at Cargo before, as we were getting ready, and she offered me this, and I said, no, I want a Fiji. And then she opened it, and we had a whole conversation. Because a can, you're gonna associate a can usually with a carbonated beverage. Your brain, again, like I said with schema, operates on associations. So this is why, even though we know it's slop, we're still going to give, or we're still gonna like it. That's why sometimes if you open up the water, this bottle, you're gonna expect, this can, you're gonna expect it to be carbonated. Because there's so many neurons, so many connections in our brain. Can, carbonated. Can, bubbly, right? And so as we continue to navigate AI slop, understand that your brain is already bypassing the slop part and still resonating on the true part. A child, charity. So as we continue in this industry to think about how we engage with customers, think about how that notion of primary associations diluted into AI will still result in the same behavior. Sentiment analysis and also behavioral analysis, right? So again, as we continue to think about how AI is changing us, how much do we stay the same even if we know it's AI? There's things about our brain that is hardwired that won't change. And how we show up will also be problematic, right? Because we will still give money to an AI slop campaign on GoFundMe, right? Last thing I'll share, these are headlines, hyper hope. We're now in the era of slopaganda as well, right? So not only just AI slop, but AI slop for a very specific purpose or call to action. So now that we're using AI for calls to action, how is that brand safe? Right? Because it's going to be compelling. Propaganda is compelling. AI slop versions of propaganda, still what? Compelling. So this was the event that we had last year about AI, and those are some of the words that we used then. 4.7 billion users of January 2025. How much more in 2026, right? It's just continuing to literally skyrocket. We talked about deepfakes, and last thing I'll share is the Stanford AI report. I will just say super fast. AI adoption is scaling like nobody's business. But now the issue is data privacy and governance. And because again, FOMO, people are moving fast and free, and they're freely giving up their data, right? And their company secrets because they want to be first and efficient. So think about that. You can reach out to me afterwards for more about the report, but also just know the data centers in America, 10 times more than globally. The amount of money that the United States is spending globally dwarfs. However, guess what China's doing? Fast and lean. AI in China versus AI in the US is almost 1-to-1 match. This is Stanford. This report did not even come out to the media yet. Nina sent it to me. So you can reach out to me afterwards. And the last thing I will say is this for the panel. Riddle me this. AI adoption rapidly fast. Trust in AI in the toilet. How is that possible? just like we're going to sit there and like an image of an AI slop child, we're going to use the thing even though we don't trust it. The question is why? Why would we use something that we don't trust? Someone else other than my beloved intern. Why would we use AI even though we don't trust it? Oh, yes?
You don't want to be left out and feel like other people are outpacing you.
How many people agree with that? Yes? Thank you. So you don't want to be the odd one out. Anybody else? Go.
Because it's easy. Because it's easy.
It's fast. It adds value to your life. Expectations.
My boss is expecting me to
Oh, here we go. Oh, the word boss came up. It always does in an Alliance for Women in Media event. The boss.
I still have my brain. So you can, when AI gives you slop, you can say no and reprompt it and give it more context to have you help you. So like, because I trust myself, I can trust AI because I still am using my brain.
Okay. Now that is a Martin Luther 95 theses to all things AI slop, if I've ever heard of it. Love it. So with that, thank you all for the inaugural Geist Salon. Snap it up, everyone. Okay.